Hi guys, this is Patricia from Yarny Cat Crochet. Oh, well, there's been all kinds of things, but we'll just get started on uh, the video for now, and then we'll go to the end and we'll start explaining. Okay, so what's in my cup? What's on my hook? What's on my mind? Episode 4. Um, so I don't know if y'all watched the unboxing Happy Mail episode where my mom sent me all those wonderful teas and socks and blessings cards to read every day. We're going to talk a tiny bit about it. I won't go into detail. You can watch the video for the deets. But so what's in my cup are puka teas. There's several different kinds. I will show you after I taste this one, but this one is called Love. I chose Love. Everybody choose love and spread it. And I mean the caring for your neighbors, loving your family, treating animals with respect kind of love. Everybody, no matter who they are, no matter where they are in life, deserves love. So give love, please. So let's see what love tastes like. I think it's been soaking enough. And look how pretty that package is, by the way. I mean, in Japan, my son studies about Japan because he's going to go be a teacher there. But in Japan, they say the packaging is just as important as the gift that inside, maybe more so. And, you should always present gifts in lovely packaging. Well, this Puka Tea Company, I believe they're from India. Oh, by the way, I have a lot of watchers from India, so love to India. Leave a comment if you watch it and you're from, well, anywhere, because I'd love to know where everybody's from. But if you're from India, leave a comment. If you can't comment in English, I'll get Google Translate out and we'll try and figure it out. I have she's a niece from a previous marriage of my dad's, but I still love everybody that has ever been in our lives. And her daddy was from Bangladesh, so I don't know a whole lot, but a little bit about it. So anyway, I'd like to hear from you. But so apparently people from India think it's important too. And look at those vibrant colors. I'll show you the other bags after I taste this one. So this one's Love. Love tastes like chamomile and lavender, apparently. It tastes pretty good. It's a little on the spicier side. I mean, I don't mean like spices like hot peppers. I mean spices like, they just have all those wonderful spices over there in India. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to set that down in my lovely cup. Get it out of the way so that I don't knock into it and spill all over the place, because I am notorious. I am notorious for spilling things. I got my kitschy fishing shirt. It says "Rise and shine, those fish are mine." It's it's got a bass on it. It's pink. And I did not make this quilt pillowcase that you see over here. We actually bought it at a flea market. There was the quilt and the pillowcase that came with it, the sham or whatever you want to call it. Whatever those ones that have a hole in the back that you stuff the pillow in. I think they're shams. But anyway, I told my son, when we saw it, I was like, I gotta buy that. And he really liked it, but he was curious about my enthusiasm about buying the quilt. And I told him, if you ever see a quilt out in the wild and it's in decent condition, snatch it up if it's a decent price. Now, some people, they're like, ooh, this is a quilt we can throw. And yes, they do deserve money for their craft. But some people do say, oh, it's a quilt, so I can get a lot of money out of it. I mean, you can. And some of them are such works of art that you should pay good price for it. But this one was cheap enough, and I said, if you can afford and you see a quilt out in the wild somewhere, by out in the wild I mean not in an apartment store or someplace, snatch it up, because quilts last very long time because they are built so well, and they just feel better. I don't know, it may just be me, but I'm sure there's other people out there with a tendency to like to sleep under quilts. I love quilts. I've made 1.5 quilts. I have another quilt put together that's been in my closet for a couple of years. I have one put together that my son uses, and then I have the one that's, the squares are sewed together, but the backing isn't put on and the batting isn't put in it. And I plan to finish that eventually. It's a work in progress over several years. So anyway, we'll eventually fix it up and set it free. But yeah, if you see a quilt out in the wild, it's an investment. Quilts are very well made for the most part, and just super, super nice to sleep with. I choose a quilt over, don't tell anybody, I choose a quilt over a crocheted item any day. I love crocheted blankets and stuff like that, but there's just something about a quilt. I don't know. I grew up with, well, my parents raised me, but I grew up with my grandma and my Aunt Pat. She was my great aunt, but I just called her Aunt Pat. And then she ended up watching my son when he was little. She lived, like I said, in previous videos, we all grew up with like our great grandparents, because everybody married so young. I married when I was 20, had my son when I was 24, but most of my family was like 16, 17, you know, and everybody had children early. So as a result, like when my son was 4, his great grandfather had just passed away. I have pictures and proof. So he met him when he was 2 months old too, and we got pictures of him sitting in his great grandfather's lap. So that's pretty special. And like I told you guys in the previous videos, one day I will share that. But anyway, I grew up with older people with older ways. I know how to start a campfire. I know how to prime a well so that we could pump up water. I have used the restroom in an outhouse, and I'm not talking about one in the park. When we moved into our first house in Indiana, it used to be a slave's quarters, and it on a plantation farm. It was long since never been a plantation at that point, but it did have ties to the Underground Railroad and everything, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, it didn't have a bathroom on the inside. It just had a outhouse. My dad had to build the bathroom, and we had a claw-footed tub eventually when my dad got it in there. But so I've used the bathroom in the middle of the night with a flashlight battling spiders from Indiana. Anyway, there's a lot of stories I could tell you, but I grew up very old-fashioned. We always had good food. We had a wringer washer. Yeah, guys, I'm 48, but we had a wringer washer. My mama washed the clothes in that, and she put them through the wringer. There's anybody who knows about a wringer washer, and you young kids, look it up, because I do have some people that are younger that watch me too. Hi, kids. I will try to keep it as PG as possible on this channel. But the channel is not made for children. I don't do that because I don't want them, accidentally put something in here and then I get blamed because I said my channel was for children. But there are younger children that watch. So anyway, my mom would run the clothes through the wringer and do it a couple of times, because the first time you got a lot of water, but you run it through that second time and get the rest of it out if you had to a third time, however many. And then we hung the clothes up on a clothesline with clothespins. So I know how to do all that, how to hang up the clothes on the clothesline, collect the clothes from the clothesline, and make sure there's no spiders or anything on them before you put them in the basket, because they sneak out and scare you when you get the clothes in the house, because they're like, we're inside. But anyway, so yeah, I know a lot of just old-fashioned things, and I think that's important. If you know any of those old-fashioned things, make sure you pass them on. You might think the kids know, but they don't. Seriously, trust me, I've had many a conversation with my son, who is 24 now, about things I thought was common knowledge, because I grew up with it. I grew up with helping collect the wood and bring the wood in the house, and we had a wood stove, and my mama could bake biscuits in the wood stove. There was a spot, or cook soup on top of the wood stove. I mean, all that stuff I find really fascinating. I mean, I'm glad I have air conditioning. I didn't have air conditioning. Well, we had it at points in my life, later in my life growing up, but we didn't have air. And when I met my husband, he introduced me to the wonderful world of constant air conditioning, and now I'm spoiled and don't want to do without it. But, I like the modern conveniences, a microwave. We didn't have that till I was way older. Cell phones. The cell phones are magic to me. I know a lot of people are going to be like, but just the thought of just your words turning into information, shooting through the air to somebody in Washington, D.C. My brother lives near Washington, D.C. Or, say I made a phone call to Japan when my son moves there. My conversation is going to go across the ocean, land in my son's phone. First, it's going to be sent into millions. I've learned about this. It's sent into millions of packets of information all over the place, and then they're all going to gather right back together, jump into my son's phone, and I'm going to be talking to him. Cell phones are magic, people. That is all I've got to say. And now, I mean, before I was kind of anti-technology. Whenever new things came out, like we had the internet in the 80s when I was in school, but and I graduated in the 90s, but it wasn't real in everybody's home yet. So learning how to use Yahoo to check emails, because once I went to college after my son was already born, and I started my life kind of late as far as getting a degree and everything like that. And so anyway, I had to learn how to use an email so they could email me. I'm like, email? The lady at the library had to show me. So that's just a little tidbit. I could go on and on. I know how to fish and fillet a fish because, our family had to support themselves. Sometimes we went fishing for dinner. And so I know, like, a lot of things that people my age probably don't know. But I can pass it on to my kid who actually went camping with his friend who was also a technology nut. Went fishing, caught his own fish, filleted it, cooked it on the fire. I'm sorry to all my vegan friends. I'm not vegan, but I respect veganism. I love vegetables. I do kind of skew towards mostly eating vegetables, but I do have fish and chicken and beef. Sorry about that part. Please just fast forward past this conversation and get to the other stuff, because I don't want to offend anybody, but I am who I am. But anyway, so he went camping. He caught his fish. He filleted it right in front of his friend, and he grilled it on the grill and ate it. And tell me a kid from he was born in 97. Tell me a kid who today could do that. Not very many. I mean, there are some that are raised by people that are like hunting families or whatever. But yeah, my dad hunted. There's been a few different things that we've ate growing up that I'm pretty sure not very much other people have ate, except for maybe people in our region, because there are a lot of fishermen and hunters in our area of Indiana. But anyway, to get past all that, that was a tangent. Uh, just, you just go down the rabbit hole and things just keep happening. But anyway, so for the tea part, so my point was buy a quilt if you see one out in the wild and give it a good home, and you'll have it forever and you'll love it. But that's the pillowcase covering the light glare. That's how that conversation started. So this one, Puka Tea, is Relax. I love that color too. That's really pretty. Relax. I think I talked about these before, but it has chamomile, fennel, and marshmallow root. This one is this one's regular. Chamomile, vanilla, and manuka honey. Such pretty packages. Nighttime Puka, which is a dreamy bed of oat flower, lavender, and lime flower. And then the love was chamomile and lavender. And I had a friend tell me that Puka means safe. A lady, I call y'all my friends because really you are. I talk to y'all through messages, and I really appreciate all the messages, so keep them coming, and I'll answer as many as I see. Sometimes I don't see them till after a while, so if I'm not actively checking through them constantly, which you just can't do, I miss some of them till later, so please excuse me if I don't answer right away. Some of you may get that answer right then. It's just because I see it right then. I answer them when I see it. But anyway, those are some Puka teas. Anyway, and my friend who answered one of my videos said that Puka means safe in the Indian language, people from India. So that's cool. That's very cool. All right, so that was what was in my cup and part of what was on my mind. But we won't stop there. Okay, so on my hook. Okay, so my scrap gun. It's not very far, but there's a reason why I'm showing you this. We'll get to it later. But I finished a hat, so it's no longer on my hook. It's going to be it is a slouchy hat. Because it's the same ski slope beanie, but I just added more rows on it, which eventually you guys will get that pattern. It's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. I'll tell you why in just a second. Okay, so I haven't added much more to it since you all last seen it, but next time you see it, it's going to have a lot on it because of what I'm going to talk about later. But that's how far I got, and I just love it. I don't care that they're different colors. I don't care that some of the yarn is different sizes. I just love it. I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be for me, but then if I leave a note on, that I made this hat for somebody or whatever, then my son will have the code on the paper and he can look at it later. There's going to be a future without me in it eventually. I mean, that's just life. So he'll have some memories of why I cherished it, and he'll cherish it because he'll see me using it. Me and my son were very, very close. So a little bit about my son. He's like really, really smart with school. I've never had to really get onto him, although he did know that because he was capable of getting A's, he better bring A's home. He sometimes, and I wasn't a very strict parent. I mean, I was in some ways because I have old-fashioned values, but mostly I didn't have to. My son was just a good kid. I mean, there was times when he was colicky when he was a baby, or when he hit those preteen and beginning teenager years where he knows more than mom and has to prove his point. There was those years, but other than that, I really didn't have any huge issues, like drugs or drinking or smoking or anything like that. God knew that I was going to have this disability, I think, and He gave me a really, really good kid. In that way, I'm extremely blessed and appreciative. Thank you, Jesus. I don't get real religious, but I do acknowledge, Jesus, that's just me. It's not to offend anybody or push my religion down your throat. I wouldn't do that. I don't believe in it. Jesus didn't even do that. And He just had a conversation with people and tried to lead them the right way with love. And that's what we all should do. Whether we believe in Jesus or not, we should lead people in the right way with just love. That love is all it takes. But anyway, what was my point? So anyway, we would, he had so many days, I think it was like 21 days that he could be out of school due to sickness or illness or whatever. And he was hardly ever sick, and he got great grades, so he always had his homework done and stuff. He was rarely ever late with any homework or anything. So if there was a day when he woke up that he just didn't feel like going to school that day, not because he was lazy, just because he just didn't feel it, then I would be like, come on, we're going to the mall. And so I'd call him in that day, and all the teachers knew it. But I would get notes at the end of the school year, you're coming up on your 21 days, you might want to be careful, make sure he doesn't miss any. But I tried to get him as many of those days, and we just played hooky that day, and we'd go out to eat, and we'd go to the mall, we'd go to Books A Million. Well, I think it was Barnes and Nobles at the beginning, and then it turned into a Books A Million. But anyway, anywhere he wanted to go, to the skate park, he loves skateboarding. Just anything, we'd go do it. And so, I just don't even, I think I was talking about the memories. Anyway, he'll have good memories. We're really close, and, gosh, I'll have to rewind this later and watch why I got on that subject, but my son and I are very close. So is me and my mother. We're very close. I just, he wanted to do art. I got him the art supplies. And we didn't have a lot of money. I got art supplies on clearance and stuff like that, just like I do with the yarn now. Anyway, he's going to have a lot of memories, and I've passed him on a lot of good old-fashioned knowledge, and he's going to do great. He's studying to be a teacher, to move over to Japan and teach English, and he's going to be just amazing. I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited. I'm not excited in a lot of ways because I'm going to be separated from him, but we're going to make it work. So I'm so proud of my son. Anyway, he's going to look at that scrap can. That's probably where that came from. He's going to look at that scrap can and have all kinds of memories of me. So that's also really, really cool. Okay, so what was in my cup? What was on my hook? Okay, so yeah, I'll be working on that scrap can the next couple days, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So what's on? Oh, yeah, and I did show you guys the socks I got at the Hot Topic yesterday. It says ramen. And, and then I'm also going to pick out a crochet border out of this book that my mom bought me a while back ago, and that's going to go on the scrap can too, so that's pretty cool. I have to pick from all these wonderful crochet borders. I forget how many are in there. It says at the top 150, so that's pretty cool. So that book is going to come in handy. So I'm taking that book, and I'll tell you where later. Okay, so we'll just get to the what's on my mind part for the next couple of days. My dad has to go out of town, and my stepmom just recently got out of the hospital. So, she really shouldn't be alone. I mean, she could handle herself, but we just want to make sure she's not in want for anything. I mean, she just got out of the hospital. It's hard. And so anyway, I am going to be limited in everything I can take. It's not my house. It's, I want to be respectful, so I don't want to drag a bunch of junk in there. When I go somewhere for the night, like on a road trip or whatever, because of all my needs, I have like tons of junk, and I always have like a bag full of yarn and all that. So I thought, what can I take to work on while I'm there? I'll be out of pretty much cell service. You have to go outside into the driveway. It's just way out in the middle of the country, and it's not far from me. Not middle of the country, countryside. We live in Indiana, but it's not far from me. It's just like maybe 10 minutes down the road, but we live in a rural area, small town, and then they live a little bit further out of town. So cell service is kind of sketchy. So if you guys don't hear from me in 2 days, please don't call the American authorities. I'm okay, I swear. My son is going to keep an eagle eye. He's going to keep checking in on me and stuff. So I'm fine. I've not been kidnapped. I promise, no blinking. You know that movie Blink if you're, being kidnapped. I'm not. I'm going to be fine. I have to stay the night over there. I don't have to. I want to stay the night over there tonight. And he won't get home until tomorrow night in the middle of the night, so I'll be staying over there that night too. My son will come get me in the morning. So I was thinking about what I could take, and I thought my scrap can, because I haven't been working on it, and I've got lots of scraps. I've got more scraps around here that I have to gather up. I'm going to take just the scrap can with me. And I'm going to take my book that I got at Books A Million yesterday when we had our mommy and son time. He's 24, but I'm still his mommy. Well, he calls me Ma. It's just the colloquial, I can't even say that, but it's a thing from our area growing up, Ma. Anyway, that's what he calls me. And so I'll be reading my Joanne Fluke book that I got at Books A Million for $5.97. They're originally $27, so woo-hoo, good deal. She's awesome. I'm going to be reading her. And by the way, I got all your all's recommendations for books, and that's so cool. I'm going to check them out. I have a certain, tolerance for what's in the book, so if it's anything, I doubt it, because all my readers know. All my readers. I did write a children's book, but I never published it. It was about our animals and stuff. I may someday publish it, I don't know. But it's called England the Michigan Dog, because we lived in Michigan for a while, and my mom still lives there, and her dogs, she had a beagle and a beagle and a Basset Hound mix, I think. Anyway, his name was England, and he had a peace sign. You know the middle of the circle of the peace sign? He had it right down his head with a stripe going back. Anyway, and he was a very peaceful dog. He was so cool. He was the perfect companion to her. He passed away, but I wrote that story, England the Michigan Dog, and it was from the eyes of the animals, just like Bunnicula or Hank the Cow Dog. I don't know how far y'all go back in children's storybooks, but I love all those books. I'd read them today. I think Hank the Cow Dog was just hilarious, and Bunnicula was just a classic. I used to read it to my son, and Hank the Cow Dog, until he got old enough to be interested in video games, but he still has a love for books. He reads a lot of manga now. That helps him learn his Japanese a little bit better, watch animes and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to be taking this book. I'm going to be taking my scrap can, my border book, so that I can look at some borders for when I go to put the border on. Yeah, that's probably about the stuff that I'll be taking. So, yeah, I might not put up a video tomorrow. If I get signal and I can upload a short, I might. But please don't worry about me if I don't. please hang in there and don't leave me till I come back. So it might be, so today is Wednesday, tomorrow is Thursday, and then I'll be home Friday. I don't know how with it I'll be by Friday. I have a lot of physical stuff that I have to deal with, and when I go someplace that's not my home, it takes a little bit more out of me because I have everything the way I need it here, But it's going to be fun because it's going to be like a sleepover. I'm an adult sleepover, the PG kind. Me and my stepmom are going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to stop and get some snacks, and she's kind of nocturnal. She stays up at nighttime and watches movies and stuff like that, and I do too, to a certain extent. Like between midnight and 2 probably is when I'll go to bed, or earlier if I'm having a bad day and it's just I need to sleep. My body tells me what I can do when I can do it. It's very bossy. But we're going to have a fun. It's going to be like a sleepover, like glamping, because I don't sleep on the ground anymore with bugs. I could do that when I was a kid. Camping was awesome. But if I go camping nowadays, it's not for me to stay the night. I'll go there and I'll enjoy the campfire with everybody else. Maybe the fishing. I haven't fished in a very long time. I don't like to fish unless we're going to eat the fish. I don't believe in torturing the fish for just throwing them back in. I just couldn't do it. I can't. But I do eat fish. I love fish, and I will eat fish if we catch them and somebody can fillet them. I can't, because of my hands, I can't, do that stuff anymore. So I'll go and enjoy the campfire, maybe roast some marshmallows, and then I'll have somebody take me home, and they can go back and sleep the night if they want to with the bugs. But I just don't do that anymore. For one, I can't get up and down off the ground. So, and you sleep on the ground when you can't, unless you go glamping with posh tents and high sleeping mattresses, and, or in a cabin, which is fun too. But yeah, I don't do that much anymore. So this is going to be like glamping in a house, and we won't have to use the fire, although I would know how to start one if we needed to. But anyway, so that's where I'm going to be for the next 2 days. I'm really, like, I get anxious when I can't post something. So I'm really probably going to have one on Friday, but I can't promise anything because sometimes my body, when it decides to do its thing, I'm out of commission for like a week or so. So I hope that doesn't happen to me. I'm going to take it easy. So, okay, here's the part of the video where it's new, where I'm going to read a card from the Promises from God for Women that my mom bought me. So everybody who just doesn't believe that way, thank you for coming. Please like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. It really helps me out. It supports well, it doesn't yet, but eventually it'll support me making more content, having giveaways. I plan to fully take advantage of all of that. But if you just don't like to hear scripture or don't believe in it or whatever, thank you for coming. Have a nice time, and we'll see you next time. For everybody else, I'm going to pull a scripture out of the box. It says Promises from God for Women. And the first one, they have little sayings too. The first one says, "You are a truly wonderful person." And I believe everybody out there listening is truly wonderful. And so that's really cool. And then on the back it says, "Pray that God will be kind to you and will bless you with peace." 1 Thessalonians 1:1. I don't know if these are, there's all different versions. I believe in the King James Version, but these might be like New International or whatever. But regardless, the scripture is the same, and some of them are easier to understand for people than others. It's 1 Thessalonians 1:1. pray that God will be kind to you and will bless you with peace. And I hope peace and joy for everybody. I'm going to put that in the back. So that'll be the back. I'll put that in the back of the box. So we'll start from the front next time. Hope you all are having a joyous day. Please spread your joy. Spread your old-fashioned knowledge if you got any. Spread your new-fashioned knowledge. I mean, not everybody knows everything. And as a collective, gosh, the knowledge that we have, that we could spread to the world, and the joy that we could spread to the world. I know in the crafting community, we're all pretty tight and support each other. I mean, there's a few bad eggs, but we can ignore them. We're adults. Let them spew over in the corner, and we'll just be over here having a grand old time. So spread your joy. Life's too short for hate. We don't want it. We don't need it. We don't have to have it. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.